Previously on Higurashi When They Cry Kai, Ch.6.
すまなかった、レナ。俺はどこかでレナの話を疑ってたよ。本当にすまない。
いいよ、ケイチ君。そのおかげで待ち伏せをやり過ごせ。
お社様ってのは何者なんだよ、一体。医学先進国っていうとドイツか？正体はひょっとしてナンパして流れ着いた外国人医師？
多分ケイチ君の答えが一番一般的だと思う。ドイツ人ではないんだけど、とりあえず医者的な存在であったのは正解。
古代の伝説の秘密が明かされていくってのはなんだか面白いな。
I don't know. I still feel like we're missing something.
つまり特定はできなくてもその存在だけは疑いようがないってわけだ。
そうなるね。
だとするとそのスクラップ帳は信心深い連中にとっては十分危険な存在だな。たとえ特定できなくても存在を証明している時点で十分に危険だと思うぞ。
I don't think they clearly prove it beyond a shadow of the doubt, but given all the other previous events of the last few chapters, I do think that they give my big theory some credence.
村を影から牛耳る何者かにその村に住まうガキンチョ2人が挑むわけだ。こいつは最高にハードな話だぜ。
You think?
一筋縄じゃいかねえぞ。
でもケイチ君が味方でよかったよ。二人だから話し合えて相談できる。
当たり前だろ。俺は最初からずっとレナの味方で仲間だぞ。
I know that my friend, Mion, isn't part of any conspiracy. She'd never be involved with something like that. Even if the conspiracy exists, I'm sure Mion will be on our side. So, whether or not it's true, it must be worth telling Mion about it.
Nani, Kei-chan?
We're really gonna tell her, aren't we?
はい？ちょっと、何の話なわけ？
本当に何の話かわからないのか？
I really don't think she does, bro. I had it totally twisted around? I believed that fake-sounding story. I believed that the Sonozaki family was working behind the scenes, and I fabricated the existence of a group of fanatical believers in my mind. Worse, I doubted Mion. Damn it! I'm such a fool! I wasn't safe here anymore. If I stayed here, I might be erased, even in the open. They'd erase me? Why? They aren't certain I have the scrapbooks! I told Keiichi-kun where I hid the scrapbooks. Yesterday I told him I hid them in my hideout in the garbage dump. Is Keiichi-kun in cahoots with the Sonozaki family? No, he's not! And so it continues. Greetings, my name is Neosekken, and welcome back to my Let's Play of Higurashi When They Cry Kai Chapter 6. So, guys, I think first and foremost, we need to get our hands on a tranquilizer gun. I think that'd be the most efficient way to bring down our rabbit Rena. And then, after she has been, after she's got enough anesthetic in her system, we handcuff her, and then put a straitjacket on her, and then put on a few demon warding talismans on there just for good measure, just so we can cover our supernatural bases too. And then observe and pray that she gets over whatever is afflicting her. But that'd be the smart thing to do. And I don't think we're prepared, and I don't think our main characters are exactly prepared to do something quite that smart and straightforward just yet. So, let's see what they all have planned. They were mowing grass near the fence, which was probably a cover to monitor the surroundings. Just in case, I tried to escape from the school. But they must have been thinking that would happen only after school was over. They seemed to have no idea that I'd already noticed their plan and was trying to run away right at that very moment. I couldn't use the front gate since they'd find me easily. I moved behind the school building, made sure nobody was around the curry garden, ran through it, and dashed into the forest. I walked through the dense undergrowth, stepping on dead wood and climbing over fallen trees. After walking through the forest for a while, I came to a small road. I know many back roads in this village because of our club activities, and that knowledge had finally come in handy. So, what should I do now? I'm sure the girl already passed on my message to Ch.6. Those men must be going crazy by now, knowing that I ran away. Well, we all know you're going crazy now. That's for sure.
竜宮さんの総体を他に聞いている人はいませんか？
Everybody in the class looked at each other and shook their heads. Ch.6 looked a bit upset that Rena left school early without telling her in person.
でもレナさん、最近はいつも体調悪そうでございましたものね。レナ、カバンなんかも置きっぱなしだし、どうしちゃったんだろう。
Well, that's a good question. Rika, you got any ideas?
なんだか嫌な予感がするぜ。
え？
I think I know what's going on. I'm not sure, but I have a very bad feeling about this. She must have taken another ridiculous story seriously or something. Hope she won't do anything crazy. Crazy is pretty much this whole series' modus operandi, man. It's only a matter of time until the crazy does start rolling, and then once it goes downhill, it will snowball into... Well, the worst we've seen so far is Chapter 3's ending. So maybe Chapter 6 will somehow exceed that. I hurried home. My father might not be at his new job, or he might have gone shopping. I still find it interesting how her dialogue text has turned into a more noticeable shade of red over time. Particularly around the time where I suspected that she started developing symptoms. He wasn't around when I got there. Now that they're on the move, I'm no longer safe in my house. They're very dangerous people. They're trained to be capable of attacking the Ministry of Construction, and they actually pulled off the kidnapping of the grandson of the minister. Locked doors and windows don't mean anything to them. In fact, it'd be like I was hiding in a box, which they could just open up to get at me. I could no longer stay at my home. It's very sad and very frustrating. I killed Rena and Tepe and finally regained a peaceful life with my father. How could this happen to me? I remembered what Keiichi-kun told me before. It expressed my feelings of better than anything.
高野さんめ、とんでもない置き土産を。
Why'd she give me those terrifying scrapbooks? To make you go crazy with fear would be my guess. Why'd she tell me the secret of that unthinkable conspiracy? Reference my past answer. She got me into this. I didn't do anything. It's all Mio-san's fault! Well, I'm sure that's at least partially true. But who was interested in her stories? I was. Who let her continue talking? I did. I did that out of curiosity. Who let the memories of Ibaraki return and told Mio-san about them? I did. I depended on Mio-san, hoping that she could somehow save me from the memories I've been trying to forget. I shouldn't have remembered anything about that bizarre incident. If I hadn't, I wouldn't have gotten involved in an unthinkable conspiracy, and I could have just played around with my friends today. But even if I didn't know about the conspiracy, it'd still continue behind the scenes, and you'd be ignorant to it and none the wiser. I would have been one member of the mob running in a panic, not knowing what's going on the day of Urashiro-sama's revival. I would have been just swallowed up in their conspiracy anyway. Likely true, but as we've seen with previous chapters, there is enough margin for, well, not error, but where probability to where, for all we know, you could have gone to Mount Fuji or something at that time for whatever inexplicable reason. Point is, this point in time is not exactly consistent in regards to these time loops. There is always some differences here and there with each loop, so theoretically, anything's possible. Would I be happier if I faced that day without knowing anything? Would I be happier if I struggled, knowing about it but ending up swallowed by it? If I'm going to end up the same way no matter what I choose to do, I'll fight. I mean, I admire your fighting spirit here, but I mean, you gotta maintain your grip on reality, number one, and number two, you gotta make sure that you're fighting against the right people. I'll choose to fight, because that's how I seized my happiness before. When Rena invaded my home, seducing my father, I felt like it was the end of the world. I lived on the verge of despair every day. I thought that was the worst misfortune that could befall anyone. But the way things are going, it wasn't really that bad at all. I had only two enemies, Rena Mamiya and Tepe Hojo. I almost read Mamiya as Mamma Mia. I knew my enemies, and I knew how many they were. Don't you mean there were? I lured them out one by one, and I attacked them in the dark. It was a very easy problem to solve. But what about this one? I don't know who my enemies are, and I don't know how many or how strong they are. Even the people I once trusted might be my enemies. I can't possibly be sure. It's totally different from the previous problem. This might be the end of the world. This time, it really was the worst thing that could possibly happen. But is that really the case? With Rena, I felt like it was the end of the world, but I no longer think it was that bad. So this might turn out to be an easy problem to solve in the end, and I might be able to laugh about it someday. I know that day will come. I know it for sure. So I shouldn't think that this is the end of the world. Let's fight. I can fight. I can still struggle. I'd eat grass and drink mud if I needed to. Mud is not a liquid. I'm going to bet on the 1% chance, even though it's unbelievably small. If Mio-san didn't leave me the scrapbooks, I wouldn't have even been able to sit at the table to bet. I was lucky that I received his scrapbooks because they gave me the chance to choose my future. I wonder about that. If I don't fight, they'll spread the terrible parasite, and this village will face a great disaster. As far as I'm concerned, the parasite's already in everybody's bodies. The real question is, how do you stop it from triggering? Well, we already know how, but we gotta figure out just how to stop the parasite's trigger from being triggered. According to the legend, when demons first came out of the swamp, people became demons right after being infected. And it happened while they were inside the village. These days, symptoms appear only when infected people leave the village, but that only applies to the later, weak parasite. The original parasite can reenact the curse of Orishira-sama, even when the infected are in the village. The legend of Orishira-sama will be reborn. Humans and demons will start killing each other. And Orishira-sama will come down to pacify the disaster. That's what they want. They want people to prostrate themselves before that miracle, and only the people who truly worship Orishira-sama will be saved. I see. I know their true intention now. They're going to reenact the legend of Orishira-sama. After all, the villagers always say that Rika-chan is his reincarnation. You better not be thinking of going after Rika. The stage is all set. They're going to use the parasite as the curse. So, how are they going to make it look like Orishira-sama came down to pacify everyone? I get it. They must have some kind of medicine, a specific cure for the parasite. When they recreated the stronger form of the parasite, they found a cure for it at the same time. You're making way too many assumptions without even a shred of evidence. This is going to end in absolute disaster. They're going to use this cure to save only those people who believe in Orishira-sama, and as a result, this village will only have those fervent believers. They're going to make themselves the absolute rulers of Hinamizawa. Wait, I still might be underestimating them. Are they going to carry out that horrifying act of bioterrorism only inside Hinamizawa? Well, if Chapter 3's ending is any indication, apparently yes. History proves that, when their goal is to control others, people desire to spread their religion across a wide area. I'm sure that they conducted research not only to bring back the primitive form of the parasite, but also to overcome its weakness. Namely, that it only thrives in Hinamizawa. According to Mio-san's research, the parasite doesn't like its hosts to be far from the region. Its weakness is distance. If they could extend the distance, if they could extend the area where it could live, I wonder how far along their research is. By now, the parasite might be able to live not only in Hinamizawa, but in Okinomiya as well. Or maybe even the city. Maybe the whole prefecture? It might be able to cover nearby prefectures as well. This is too serious to just call a conspiracy. It's horrifying enough, and it's large-scale enough, to call it a revolution. The day of revival is probably not far off. I can tell by how they killed Mio-san, and by the extent of their pressure they're putting on me. They're trying to get rid of the small fishbone stuck in their throat by any means, because that day is coming ever closer. I'm the only one who can stand up against their revolution. I can't trust anybody. I think I can trust Keiichi-kun, but no one else. Michan is out of the question. I can't trust Rika-chan either. Satoko-chan and Rika-chan stick together like superglue, so I can't trust Satoko-chan either. I can't trust any adults. I can't trust anybody. No one is on my side. I just stand up against them alone. The clock is ticking towards that day, and the ticking noise made me frustrated. How should I fight against them? What should I do? I needed time to think. I think you need to stop thinking for a good minute and just chill. I needed a place, a safe area where I could concentrate on thinking. Fortunately, I had such an area already. My hideout at the garbage dump. I would point out that your friends know about your hideout, but if you realize that, then, well, that's just gonna increase your paranoia even further than it already is. But since this is you we're talking about, you're probably gonna realize that in like what? Maybe exactly 1 minute from now? Nobody ever goes there, so it's safe. Even if they found out about that place, I'm familiar with its surroundings. I know easy escape routes and places where I can hide. But it has a big shortcoming as a hiding place. It's not hard to imagine what that is. I don't have any stock of food there. That's why I came home. I opened one of my father's drawers and took out his cash box. Contents haven't changed since the last time I looked inside. There were many new 10,000 yen bills in the cash box. I took them all. I couldn't tell how many bills there actually were, but it looked to be about 80 of them. This should be plenty. I keep forgetting how much 10,000 yen is actually worth, but I'm going to assume that she has a good chunk of change. If I evaded them long enough to use all this money, that would mean I did pretty well. Plus, I might use it to buy someone off. You can never have too much money, especially in a situation like this. I didn't take the bank book. If they were waiting in an ambush at the bank, I'd be done for. It's too risky to withdraw money at the bank. I grabbed my backpack. I took the key from my bicycle. I put everything I think would be convenient to have into the backpack. I didn't care if it got heavy. I'd choose what was necessary to carry around later at my hideout. If there ended up being something I didn't need, I could leave it there. I looked at the clock. It had been about 30 minutes since I came home. That was a fast 30 minutes. I stayed here too long. I rushed out of the house. I went to a small convenience store and bought as much sweetbread and canned food as I could fit in my backpack. An old lady was at the register. Probably suffering from dementia, she showed no interest in the extraordinary amount of food I was buying. But as soon as his manager of the store checked the sales that night, he'd find out. The idea didn't bother me, because I could no longer walk around the village in the daylight anyway. My backpack was full, and the cans hurt my back as I walked. But that didn't bother me either. I got to my hideout, still carrying the heavy backpack. I organized the stuff I brought. It was very heavy to carry, but now I had sufficient food. The abandoned construction office was still has running water, so I could get some from there. I'd wanted to get some vegetables, but in a situation like this, I could hardly complain. After I organized things, I took out the scrapbooks I hid there and put my brain into top gear, flipping through the pages. So, now what? How am I going to stand up against this gigantic conspiracy? I need to calm down, stay cool, but also to think fast. There might not be a lot of time, so I'd have to hurry, but I don't know what to do. It's easy to run to school in the morning when I oversleep. It's easy because I know where I should go. But now, I don't know where I should go to, or what I should do. Now that I've come to this point, I should tell Ushi-san everything. It's highly likely he's an enemy, but that doesn't matter anymore. If it was true, I'd just declare war. But if he was on my side, he'd be my only remaining hope. I'm far too weak to stand alone against the terrifying scale of this conspiracy poised to instill fear throughout Japan. I have to use a public phone to make the phone call. There's only one public phone in this village that stands at a place where it's hard for people to spot you. A phone booth. It stands in the middle of nowhere where nobody really comes around. Many bugs gather around the light when it's dark, and it's not a pleasant place to go to. But I can't think of any other public phones I can use to contact Ushi-sen without being seen. Even though it stands in the middle of nowhere, it's still dangerous to use in the daylight. I should wait until nightfall and take advantage of the darkness. I heard that Ushi-san had been holed up in the station since Mio-san's murder case, so I should be able to reach him any time. I have the number for the direct line to his office, too. The sky was still bright. Even though I had no time, I still had to wait for it to get dark. Frustrated, I glared at the sunset. Don't glare at it too long, you might blind yourself. I should find something to do. I couldn't waste any time that I had, so there must be something to do. Play Go Fish? After I thought about what I could do, I found there was something I wanted to confirm. Something I've been worried about. I couldn't do anything else before it got dark anyway. Staying here doing nothing would just make me more frustrated. I'd made my decision and left the hideout. Rena's father... Oh, we're now at someone else. Keiichi's perspective, I guess. Rena's father paced up and down restlessly in front of his house. A bicycle appeared, its rider ringing the bell.
駐在さん、ここです、ここです。
You must have noticed the missing cash, right? A police officer from the Hinamizawa police station had shown up. Having rushed to get there, he was breathing hard.
お待たせしました。状況をお伺いします。
確かに施錠して出て行ったんです。そしたら、まず家の扉が開きっぱなしになってまして。
He led the police officer into the house.
それで、私の部屋の手提げ金庫がまんまとやられまして。
ご主人、これはその時のまま？触ってない？
ええ。犯人の指紋とかあるだろうと思いまして、金庫には触れてません。ただ中身を確認したので、中のものには少し触れています。
それで、取られたものは？
貯金通帳と印鑑は大丈夫だったんですが、中に入ってた現金を全部。
通帳と印鑑、大丈夫だったんですか？そりゃあ不幸中の幸いでしたね。最近は通帳から足がつくと思って、プロは現金しか持ってかないんですよね。こりゃあだいぶ手慣れた空き巣かな。金庫ごと持ってかないで、この場で開けちゃうってんだから、相当のプロだね。で、お金はどのくらいやられちゃって？
ちょっと数えてなかったんですが、多分1万円札で100枚近くはあったと思います。
ああ、そう。それだけの現金が入ってることを誰かに知らせた？
いえ、誰にも知らせてはいませんが、あの女たちならこの家に金があることを知っていたかも。
あの女？ちょっとお話を聞かせていただけますか？
実はあまりみっともいい話じゃないんでお恥ずかしいんですが、間宮里奈という女とですね。
Just then, the phone rang.
すみません、ちょっと出てきますね。 すぐ戻ります。
I wonder who's calling. Ushi-san, maybe? He grabbed the phone.
はい、竜宮です。
すみません。前原と申しますが、レナさんはいらっしゃいますか？
レーナはまだ帰ってきてません。
まだ帰ってない？
いや、申し訳ないんですが、ちょっと今立て込んでます。遊びの電話でしたら、またかけ直していただけますかね。申し訳ないですね。失礼いたします。
He hung up after that. I swear the text just got a slightly darker shade of red just now. Very slightly darker. I was stunned. It didn't look like anything had changed on the surface. It was hard to find this place at all, because it perfectly blends in with the surroundings. I only found this place again because I remembered there was a tree with a big lump of wood on it nearby. The spot where I buried the corpses was perfectly camouflaged, as if nothing had happened. That's why, at first, I thought I came to the wrong place. But I could make certain once I stuck a shovel in the ground. I should be able to tell right away whether this place was dug up before or not. After several false starts, I found the exact spot where I buried the corpses. But the biggest problem of all is that there are no bags in there at all. Say what? Did someone come and take the corpses? Why? How come? Did I bury them deeper than this? No, I didn't. I remember exactly how deep I buried them. I know I didn't bury them deeper than this. I was expecting this. I came here to check the corpses. I just wanted to kill that to do... I wanted to do that to kill some time. This is interesting. Even though we never really confirmed beyond a shadow of a doubt who it was that Keiichi killed in Chapter 3, their corpse apparently ended up dug up at some point after they were murdered and taken right under Keiichi's nose. And here, in Chapter 3, something similar happened to Teppei and Rena. What? Assuming that she is at the right spot where they buried him, and the corpses really are no longer there, then who the hell took the bodies and why? I didn't want to stay in my hideout doing nothing, so I came here to check if the corpses I buried were still there. I'd make sure that they were still there, and I'd feel relieved. It was supposed to go like that. This was such an unexpected turn of events that I broke out into a cold sweat. What's going on? What's going on? I don't need to calm down and think about what happened. Corpses can't come back to life and crawl out of the ground. Someone must have dug them out. Who did it? And for what purpose? That's what I want to know. Did anyone happen to see us burying the corpses here? And did they dig them out after we left? That has to be what happened. Otherwise, how else would they have known where to find them? And of course, that then begs the question: who is watching you guys bury these corpses? What if they handed them over to the police? No, it can't be. It's been quite a while since the day we buried them here. It was before the Watanagashi festival. So if the police did find the corpses, when Ushi contacted me, he had to know about Rena and Teppei. But he didn't tell me anything about them. I didn't think he was hiding anything on purpose either. So that means the police didn't know about Rena and Tepe yet. Then, why are the corpses gone? That would leave only one answer. Who knows about this place? One of us came back here, dug out the bags, and took them away. We don't know that for certain. The person who comes to mind is Mion. I mean the Sonozaki family. But I can't think of a reason why they would do that. The murder of Rena and Tepe has nothing to do with them. I'm sure they don't want to get involved either, let alone be falsely accused. They must want to stay as far away from this case as possible. Why do they want to keep the corpses? It's like keeping a joker even though you'll lose if you have the joker by the end of the game. If I was Michan, what would I do? What would I do if I was the club president? The joker is a card that you want to get rid of, at least in the game I mentioned earlier. But it becomes a powerful card in other games. What kind of game would that be? An electric shock ran through my spine. At the same time, I realized it. They are one step ahead of me. The Sonozaki family got the corpses to use them as a joker, as a wild card. They're using them to sell me out to the police. The Sonozaki family's trying to kill me using their death squad, but they want to have insurance just in case they fail. The thing they're afraid of the most is that I might work together with the police. If they could prevent that from happening, I'd have no one to work with. If that happens, I can no longer run away from them. I'd still be a fish in their pond. They're going to use the corpses to sell me out to the police for the murder of Rena and Tepe. If the police started seeing me as a suspect, they'd never listen to my story. They could have been my last hope, but this will certainly turn them against me. But I'm sure the Sonozaki family doesn't want to use their joker unless absolutely necessary. After all, Mion Sonozaki helped bury the corpses. Plus, they don't want the police to hover around Hinamizawa when the day of revival is so close. I'm going to call Ushi tonight, and I'm going to ask him for help. I'm going to tell him everything, including the things I haven't even told Keiichi-kun. I don't know if Ushi will believe me. This is a gamble, and my chance of winning is very small. Plus, my worst enemy has the Joker, the bags with the corpses inside. I'm impressed with Mion. That's just what I'd expect from the leader of our club. This is a battle that I'm betting my life on, but to Mion, this is like a board game, taking place across Hinamizawa itself. I grinned, repeating to myself that it's just a game. I put my life on the line for every club activity we do, because I don't want to suffer the punishment. This time, that's become the literal truth. There could be only one reason they're trying so hard to drive me to a corner. It's because they're afraid of me. I assumed I was just a little girl with no power, running about in confusion. But my enemy must not be thinking that way. If they didn't think I was a threat to them, they wouldn't take risks like this to drive me into a corner. That means the scrapbooks Mio-san left me must be way more dangerous to them than I think they are. I see. They have a Joker, but so do I. The Joker I have is so deadly and so powerful that I can break their plot into pieces. That's why they're so eager to find me. A cornered mouse really can bite a cat. I felt my fear towards my enemy fade away all of a sudden. Just as I fear them, so do they fear me too. So, this is an evenly matched game. I don't have as bad a hand as I thought I did. I was right to come here. I found out the card my enemy was holding. This is a big deal. I felt myself shiver with excitement. I grinned to encourage myself. I don't need to be here any longer. They know this place. They might come here to find me. It's not safe for me to stay here for long. I decided to go back to my hideout. On the way back, I passed close to my house. I noticed something different right away. I hid behind a bush and looked at the front gate of my house. My father was talking to a police officer. What rotten timing. I strained to catch their conversation.
はい。いつもはそこに止めてあるはずなんです。
My father pointed to the place where I usually parked my bicycle.
わかりました。もしお嬢さんが帰られましたらご連絡をください。こちらの方でも探してみます。
Michan, you're good. You really should remember that you did take a giant wad of cash out of your father's money box. And you didn't exactly leave the place locked and everything, you know? Try to realize that, please, before you give me on credit for something that that hasn't done. Again. Did you already play your Joker? Mion always starts a battle by attacking without hesitation, and wins. Seems like the police are already after me. My chance of being able to explain the conspiracy to Ushi was already small, but this makes it even smaller. No. That's why I'm going to talk to Ushi. He sees the Sozaki family as his enemy. He's trying to expose everything about them before his retirement. That's why he'll be on my side. He's not going to fall for their trick. Of course, there's a very high possibility that everything was part of their trap from the very beginning. Excuse me. It's possible that he claimed the Sonozaki family was his enemy in order to make me believe that he's on my side. But their Joker is actually giving me hope. If Ushi is one of them, it would be too early to play their Joker. Ushi isn't one of them. That's why they got the Joker, so they can play it before I go to the police. No, wait. That might be a trick to make me think that way, in order to make me trust Ushi. You gotta place your trust in something somewhere at some point, Rena. All this constant second guessing is not helping anything. Least of all you. When Mion gives me two choices to choose from, it's usually better to choose the one I like without thinking too much. Mion, after all, likes to guess people's intentions in order to confuse them. So when you think about a choice too much, you're already in her trap. I'm going to do as I planned. I'm going to call Ushi after it gets dark. If he's going to become my ally, we can talk about the future. And if he isn't... That, I realized, was what I had to think about before it got dark.
いえいえ、時間のことは気にしないでくださいよ。残業代はついちゃいませんが、ちゃんと勤務中ですので。
I started the conversation with an ordinary greeting to try and gauge his reaction. There's a 50-50 chance that Ushi is one of them. If he's their pawn, he'll either lure me out somewhere so he can arrest me, or he'll ask me where the scrapbooks are. But even if he didn't, that wouldn't prove anything. It's going to be difficult to determine if he's on my side or not, and I'd have to tell him about the scrapbooks no matter what. My heart's beating very fast. Even if I was sure that Ushi isn't their pawn, I'd still have to make him believe such a crazy story. And I have to do that over the phone. Worrying wouldn't do anything for me. This is, I know, a gamble. I have but a small chance of winning. If I didn't put my chips on the table, the game wouldn't even start.
以前も少し話しましたが、やっぱり私、何者かに狙われてるみたいです。
それは本当ですか？
ええ。以前までは、ひょっとすると気のせいかもしれないと思う程度だったのですが、昨日あたりから間違いないと思うレベルになりました。
間違いないレベルと言いますと？
数台の車が私の身辺を伺っているようなんです。うちの1台は白いワゴン車で、造園屋に偽装した4人の特攻隊と思われる人間が乗っています。
ピューピュー。
特攻隊というと、園崎家の暗殺部隊の？
はい。おそらくそうに違いないと思います。今日、学校にまで詰めかけてきました。あわやのところで逃れましたが、危ないところでした。
しかし、なんだって急に。まさか、竜宮さんが富武殺しについて嗅ぎ回っているとでも思い込んだんですかね。
Wushi hasn't mentioned the scrapbooks yet. Sounded rather unnatural to beat around the bush like that by mentioning Tomataki's murder. But as I haven't told him about the scrapbooks, it could be a legitimate reaction.
実はですね、ついさっき嫌な話を耳にしました。もうちょっとちゃんと調べてからお耳に入れたかったのですが、お互い新情報を知ったら伝える約束です。
You probably really should confirm it, just so we can avoid potential misunderstandings later. Because, I mean, communication issues seems to be like one of the core problems of this whole story, really.
ですので、とりあえずお話しておきます。実は、沖宮の園崎組で悪い動きがあるらしいんです。
園崎組で悪い動きですか？
ええ。ちょっとショックな話かもしれません。実は、若い衆に人探しを命じているという話なんですがね。
人探し？
My heart stopped for a moment upon hearing that. Aren't they?
私もにわかには信じられません。探しているのはあなたらしいんですよ。竜宮レナを探させているそうなんです。
Oh, let me guess. Did Keiichi and Mion decide to form a posse of some kind to try to look for you, since you've effectively gone missing? Especially once they come to realize that something is wrong with you when you weren't at home. That's probably what's going on. They're just simply trying to find you, and well, you and Ushi both think that they just basically sent an attack unit after you.
まだ仕入れたばかりの情報なんで何が狙いかはつかめていませんが、あなたの名前が出ていることだけは間違いありません。
私が身に危険を感じ始めているという話、信じてもらえますか？
ねえ、互いの話がきれいに一致します。
You bluffing me, man? I feel like you're bluffing her.
リグさん、これはどういうことですか？お心当たりは？
What they're really looking for are the scrapbooks I have. They want to know where they are, and they believe that I'm hiding them. They must be thinking that they'll be able to hide the information in the scrapbooks forever if they succeed in shutting my mouth. But I couldn't tell Ushi about that yet. I answered his question by asking him a question.
大石さんの方で何かわかりませんか？私には全然どうしてだか。
私だってわかりません。園崎組があなたという個人を狙って動くなんて考えられない。でも事実なんです。信頼できる筋から得た情報で紛れはありません。
園崎組が私に関心があるのではなく、園崎本家が私に関心があるというのはどうですか？
こういった動きはめったに見せるものではありません。例えば組の上納金の持ち逃げがあったとか、そういうトラブルがあった時にはこういう騒ぎもあったりします。でもそれは大抵組関係の業界の話で、仇である個人が対象となるなんて前例がありません。
私がその貴重な一例目であるのは嬉しいですが、前例がないで済まされちゃこっちはたまらないです。
まあ、竜宮さん、落ち着いて落ち着いて。今度は竜宮さんが話す番じゃないんですか？
何をですか？
竜宮さん、園崎組がこういう動きを見せることはおいそれとあることじゃありません。何かの誤解にしたってなかなかあることじゃない。心当たりはありませんか？竜宮さんにとっては何気ない何かが彼らを誤解させている可能性もあります。私の読みでは連中、あなたが園崎本家周辺を嗅ぎ回っていて、何かとんでもない事実を掴んだ。もしくはそれは竜宮さんが日々の生活でしてしまうような些細なものじゃない。もっと目立つ何かです。本当に心当たりはありませんか？
Is he my ally or my enemy? I still can't figure it out. This is it. Make your decision, Rena Ryugu.
多分私がミオさんのスクラップ帳を預かっているからだと思います。
ミオさん、高野ミオのスクラップ帳ですか？そいつは一体。
If he was my enemy, he wouldn't be able to hide his excitement. But his voice remained steady. It didn't sound unusual when he said the word scrapbooks.
はい。実は私、ミオさんが殺される数日前に彼女と図書館で出会って、その時に意気投合して彼女に研究をまとめたスクラップ帳を数冊預けられたんです。
研究をまとめた？
はい。ミオさんはひなみ沢村の歴史について深く研究していたんです。そしてそれらを数冊のスクラップ帳にまとめていました。奴らはミオさんを殺した時、スクラップ帳が何冊か足りないのに気づき、それを私に託していたことを気づいたのだと思います。
奴らの狙いはスクラップ帳？リグさん、それは一体何なんですか？
ひなみ沢がかつて鬼ヶ淵村と呼ばれていた太古の昔についての研究をまとめたものです。お社様信仰の発祥について書かれています。
お社様信仰？人食い鬼の末裔が仙人になってっていう？
ええ。ミオさんはその研究の中でお社様信仰についてのある重大な秘密を暴いたんです。その研究結果はお社様を神聖であると崇める人たちにとっては極めて冒涜的な内容でした。
なるほどなるほど。信仰の特に盲信的な連中にはその研究の存在が許せなかった。
Ushi was taking notes. I could hear him writing something while he spoke.
彼らはミオさんを消し、そのミオさんが残したスクラップ帳も葬ろうとしているんです。最初のうちは私が持っているのかどうか分かりかねているようだったんですが、昨日を境に疑わしきは殺せという方針に変わったように感じています。
なるほど。 そりゃ好ましい状況ではありませんね。あなたの身辺を警戒させましょう。あとそのスクラップ帳を拝見させてください。高野殺しの何かの手がかりになるかもしれない。
いえ、警察の内部にも奴らの手先が混じっている可能性が高いです。ですから身辺の警戒は結構です。自分の身は自分で守ります。あとスクラップ帳も同じです。彼らはそれを抹消しようとするでしょう。たとえ警察の中であっても。
Then have him keep him somewhere that's not the police station.
園崎組があなた一人をターゲットに動いている以上、もしこれが園崎本家の頂上からの指令なら、その可能性は確かにありますね。園崎本家が敵だった場合、悔しいですが私たちの中にも内通者がいないとは限りません。
そういうことです。ですから私のことは気にしないでください。それよりお願いがあります。とても重要なお願いです。
言ってください。何ですか？
ミオさんの研究によるならば、今ひなみ沢の闇に恐ろしい陰謀があり、それが遠くないうちに実行されそうなんです。
陰謀？それは一体何です？
I got tense all of a sudden. If I tell him everything, it's going to sound like a big lie. I should leave out the bizarre sounding parts for now. It actually makes the story more credible.
奴らの正体はお社様信仰の信者たちです。奴らは明治以降すっかり下火になってしまったお社様信仰の意向を取り戻し、太古の鬼ヶ淵村の時代のような厳格な信仰を復活させようとしているんです。
続けてください。メモしてます。
ミオさんの研究によると、お社様伝説の根底には大昔のある風土病の存在があるんです。その風土病の猛威がお社様のたたりと恐れられ、それを治療できる医者的存在がお社様と崇められ、村を支配した。
そうだったんですか。なるほど。続けて。
その風土病は土着のある特殊な寄生虫によるものだったんです。ですが長い世代を繰り返すうちに徐々に無害になっていき、彼らにとって風土病が無害ではお社様のたたりがなく、たたりがなければ救いも必要ない。だからお社様の神聖性が保てないわけです。
それを復活させようとしたら、それはつまり風土病を蘇らせるということを意味するわけですかな？
そうです。奴らはお社様伝説をゼロからもう一度やり直し、お社様の降臨を再現しようとしているんです。そのため古代の強力な風土病を再発させる原始の寄生虫を研究していたと思われます。連続開始事件の正体はこの研究結果を試すものだったんです。そして富武さんに対して古文書に残る氏脇病を再現できた。奴らは5年かけて原始の力を持つ寄生虫を復活させたんです。
なんてこった。
奴らの最終的な目的はその寄生虫をばらまき、お社様に帰依する者のみを特効薬で救い、お社様信者のみの楽園を作ろうとしているんです。
それは間違いなく事実でしょうね。
このスクラップ帳にはその寄生虫がひなみ沢の人間のほぼ全員に寄生している事実が書かれています。医学的根拠に基づいていて、その寄生を間違いなく裏付けます。
信じられない。そう、お寮のババアめ、ほっときゃいつでもお迎えが来るだろうに。自分一人じゃ三途の川一つ渡らないのか。こいつは無差別テロだぞ。なんてこった。
本来の寄生虫はひなみ沢一帯にしか適用できませんでしたが、彼らはその競技の傾向からより広域にわたって寄生虫が環境適応できるよう改良を加えている可能性が高いです。ひなみ沢だけにとどまらない。沖宮を飲み込むか、市内全域に及ぶか、 県全体にまで及ぶか。
くそったり。どうすりゃいいんだ、くそ。首謀者は誰です？
ひなみ沢御三家。おそらくは園崎家の当主でしょう。ただしお涼が主会なのか、お涼すらも駒なのかは分かりません。
I really hope he's not taking everything that she's saying at face value here, because I know he's got a hate boner for the Sonozaki family, and by extension the Free families and all. But you're a seasoned detective, man. Do a little investigative work first before just taking everything that she tells you at face value and just running with it. You could probably save us all a shit ton of trouble later.
私には奴らを奴らと呼ぶことしかできない。その規模も全くわからないんです。
その研究がどこで行われているかわかりますか？そこを押さえます。
それはこのスクラップ帳にも書かれていません。大石さんの方で見当はつきませんか？
Irie's clinic would probably be my guess if I were in Ushi's position.
そんな寄生虫だのなんだのの研究をしてるってことは、かなり改造拳銃ぐらいならガレージを改造して秘密工場にもできるだろうが、寄生虫じゃそうはいかないでしょう。
ミオさんは入江診療所に勤めている看護師でした。入江診療所が怪しいということはありませんか？ひなみ沢の規模から見て立派すぎるのが前から不審だと思っていました。
はあ、入江診療所か。
They'd need a specially designed facility with advanced airtight containment, among other considerations, to be able to do research on dangerous parasites like this one. It's easy to equate suspicious research with a clinic facility, but it also sounds too easy and a little cliché. At first, I thought they converted part of the clinic into a secret research center. But that actually sounds a little too unrealistic.
とにかくそれがどこかはわかりません。それはどうか大石さんの方で調べてください。怪しげなところを片っ端から調べられないんですか？
Good fucking luck getting approval for that.
ご存知の通り、警察は強制捜査には令状ってもんが必要です。そりゃ後付けで取ることもできますがね。間違いなくそこだという決定的な証拠があった時の話です。
Yeah. And getting conclusive evidence that some kind of parasite-esque conspiracy is going on in a whole slew of different places all at once. Really tall order. Wushi is a police officer. If he's going to work as a police officer, he has to follow their rules.
でも大掛かりな細菌テロが計画されているのだけは事実なんです。しかもミオさんの殺し方の請求さから見て、私は彼らが実行に移す X デーが近いような気がしてなりません。
わかりましたわかりました。こちらの方でも何とかしています。そんなとんでもない計画なら園崎本家も一枚岩ってわけにはいかないでしょう。必ずどこかに胸中で反対している人間がいるはずです。そういう人物と接触できないか、こちら任せてください。こういうのは私の得意とするところですよ。
At least we got to hear your laugh, but at the end of this, Wushi laughed to try to cheer me up. I was upset with the work of the police before, but Wushi's positive reaction is very reliable. He's what you might call an outlaw. Wushi's greatest advantage to me is that he doesn't exactly play by the rules. It's very encouraging that he has that kind of skill, especially since we have to act both very quickly and without conclusive evidence. The police normally investigate incidents after they've happened, but that doesn't work in this case. If this incident actually does occur, it's going to be a big disaster.
ミオさんはなんて恐ろしい陰謀を暴いたんだろうと恐ろしくなります。
気の毒な最後でした。隣の県の山中でドラム缶の中でこんがりでしてね。気の毒なことです。そういえば。
Why do I have a feeling I'm not going to like what you're about to say?
ちょいと彼女のことで変わった話がありましてね。
Really not liking where this is going.
変わった話ですか？
Wait. What about her death? I've had my suspicions for a while now whether or not that corpse in that drum is actually hers. Tell me what you found.
ねえ、最初何か事件に関係があるのかなって思ってたんですがね、今のとてつもない陰謀の話に比べたらさまつな話です。多分鑑識のちょっとしたミスでしょう。
Wait, is it the time of death that you told Keiichi about at the end of chapter 2?
いえ、聞かせてください。そういう約束じゃなかったですか？
いえ、隠すつもりなんかありません。ただちょいと夏向きな話だったもんで。リュウさん、渡流しの晩を覚えてますか？あの晩の祭りの終わった後です。あなたの仲良し5人組と富武、高野の7人で談笑してますよね。
談笑というほどではありませんでしたが。
It has to be about the times of death, right?
ええ、少し話をしたような気がします。
いえ、高野の遺体が見つかったのはその晩なわけですが、隣の県警さんの鑑識では死後24時間以上って出ちゃったらしいって噂があるんです。でもそれだと話がおかしい。あの祭りの前の晩には殺されてることになる。
殺されてることになる。
I'm confused. It means that, well, the person that you talked to during the festival was either a zombie, or there is some trickery going on with this corpse, like I suspect there to be. If she was found dead on the night of Higurashi, and she'd been dead for 24 hours, that means...
つまり早い話が、渡流しの日には高野はもう死んでることになるんですよ。だからあの祭りの晩に会った彼女は実はゾンビだったのかななんてね。なまああちらの鑑識のちょいとしたポカでしょう。
I felt my brain freezing over. Ushi laughed, saying that sounded like a horror story from summer camp. But actually, the fact that Mio-san's time of death was off backed up her incredulous theories. I haven't mentioned this one to Ushi or Keiichi-kun. If I did, they'd start to doubt everything else I've said. That's how absolutely unbelievable this theory is. At any rate, the mismatch with the time of Mio-san's death means a lot. What irony. Mio-san came up with the theory, and she proved it correct of her own life. No, not yet. This doesn't prove anything yet. What do you think it's... Okay, maybe I should be seeing what you're seeing right now, but what do you think this is proven? Possibly. If her theory is true, it might happen again. There's no way. It can't be true. I still can't believe it. But Ushi just said... He said Mio-san was already dead on the night of the festival. It means that Mio-san, who was walking arm in arm with Tomotaki-san on that night, wasn't Mio-san. Yeah, I doubt that. I doubt that this is an imposter situation, because if that wasn't actually Mio, I'm sure Tomotaki would have been pretty confused, because we already know that they were interacting days before the days before the Wanagati festival actually occurred. More than 24 hours prior to it, so... That doesn't... I'm not buying this imposter theory of yours. Neosekken was already dead. So that wasn't her. That means she was... I felt a new sensation, one I never felt in my life before. It wasn't an ordinary kind of dread. It was fear of the truth. No fear is worse than the fear of accepting a truth you don't want to believe. Ain't that the truth? No pun intended. Does that even count as a pun? I don't even know. Compared to this fear, the fear of being stalked by the Sonozaki family, or being burned alive in an oil drum looks silly. That's how deep of a fear I felt. I felt it crawling all over my body.
リュウさん、悪いことは言いません。警察が信用できないお気持ちもわかります。園崎本家は市内全域を牛耳っていますからね。署にも園崎家の御用聞きみたいな連中がいますし、それでも今のあなたは危険だ。せめて私個人を信用してはくれませんか。私以外の誰も知らないところにあなたをかくまいます。私をどうか信用してください。
I don't doubt Ushi at this point. I actually think he's very reliable. I would have said yes without a second thought. But the situation has drastically changed. If Neosekken's death backs up this unbelievable truth, I trust Ushi. I believe he'll find the enemy and take them down. But I'd rather protect myself on my own than let someone else do it. If the unbelievable truth is real, then I couldn't trust anybody except myself. No, even myself might appear before me too.
大石さん、本当にありがとうございます。とにかく、奴らの研究所を突き止めて、なんとか陰謀を食い止めてください。私は、しばらく身を潜めます。また、連絡しますね。
I noticed I'd been on the phone too long. I've been using his phone booth with a light in the middle of the darkness. In other words, I've been telling everybody I'm here.
もしもし。もしもし。
She hung up. Ushi wanted to talk more. He clicked his tongue and put the phone down. His junior, Kumagai, rushed into the room.
おいさん、やっぱりヤバそうな山っす。
What's getting bad?
竜宮レナを探させているのは園崎組笠井達義。
笠井？園崎茜の懐刀じゃないですか。
Tatsuyoshi Kasai was a pretty high-ranking big shot, even among the boss's younger brothers. He used to be the boss of a subordinate branch, but after suffering a bad injury during a gang war, he stepped down, and now he served as the boss's aide. Akane Sonozaki relies especially on him, and as her right-hand man, he's still feared even now. When Kasai moves, other gangs consider it as a declaration of war. They fear him very much. He's a warrior among warriors. He's been lying low these days, but he's led countless numbers of gang wars. You really were quite the badass at one point, huh? He was also the leader of the professional attack squadron that went to the US to receive military training during the dam conflict. They were crazy enough to think of attacking the Ministry of Construction for real. And oh, you buy into that idea too. Okay.
情報や界隈でも相当な騒ぎになってるようです。竜宮レナが園崎組にとって相当都合の悪いものを握ってるんじゃないかともっぱらの噂です。
情報屋の皆さんもさすがに勘がいいですね。ね。こ こりゃとんでもない山になってきたぞ。
佐藤さんは例の建設省とお寮の秘密交渉テープじゃないかって見てるみたいっす。だとすれば人が死ぬ騒ぎになるっすよ。
This is more serious than that, Wushi thought. If her story is true, this is a massive conspiracy. It's going to cause more than quite a few deaths. Oh, yeah. It might destroy the entire village, or even the entire prefecture. This is going to be the biggest terrorist strike in history.
竜宮レナ、やばいですよ。くまちゃん、覆面パトを竜宮家に貼り付かせてください。本日付で竜宮レナから暴力団組織に脅迫を受けている訴えがあったため身辺警護ってことにします。課長には後で私から話します。
いえ、実は竜宮レナは自宅を出ているらしいです。駐在所からの連絡ではどうも家の金を何十万か盗んで雲隠れしているらしいんです。それから竜宮家の前には園崎組の車が1台張り付いているという連絡が。
バッカ野郎、なんでそいつは早く言わないんだ。竜宮レナは相当高度に狙われてるぞ。さっきの電話は家じゃなかったんだ。竜宮レナを至急保護します。車回せ。家の前に張り付いてる野郎を締め上げろ。おい、我がの何か来い。
おっす。
え？レナさんが家にいない？
Hello, Shion.
この時間に？
はい。しばらく家の前で待たせていただきましたが、戻られる気配がなかったもので、一度引き上げました。
誰かの家に遊びに行ってるとかじゃない？案外、本家でお姉たちと一緒に部活大会だったりしてね。
Shion was lying down on the sofa, picturing her sister and her friends fooling around and playing games like they always did.
一応それを疑って本家にも寄らせていただきましたが、いらっしゃられないようでした。ミオンさんもレナさんがお帰りになられないのを心配しておられました。
Wait a minute. Is this actually the first time I've seen you in this chapter, Shion? I honestly don't remember. But if it is, well, once again, hi.
そうなの？どうしたんだろうね。はって。
めったにないことだろうとは思いますが、たちの悪いのに絡まれたのかもしれません。念のため、レナさんを見かけていないかどうか聞き込ませています。
あの子に限っては大丈夫だと思うけどな。何気に強いしね。
No, wait, I remember now. We ran into you when Rena discovered Tepe and Rena's conspiracy.
それはそうと、私に何の用だったんです？
Kasai took off his jacket. Shion only told him to go see Rena because she heard that Rena had requested to see him in person. Oh yeah, she did request that.
あれ？言わなかったっけ？なんかね、葛西の落とし物を拾ってるらしいよ。お姉が言うには、レナさんそれを直接返したいんだってさ。おうおう、いいね。若い子にモテることで。
堪忍してください。しかし、ご無事だといいのですが。
Right then, the phone rang. Kasai answered it while loosening his tie.
はい。はい。わかりました。直ちに。
Kasai sounded very serious, and Shion immediately figured out who he was talking to.
誰？お父さん？
はい。レナさんを大至急保護して本家へ護送せよとの園崎本家からの命令です。
Right straight to the main house. So, was I wrong about this just being a Pase Mion setup?
ばあさんの直令？ レナさん、何をやらかしたんだか。爪かな。かわいそうに。くわばらくわばら。
Damn.
レナがまだ帰ってないって？
実は聞いた話だと、レナ、自宅を出てどこかに雲隠れしてるらしい。
雲隠れ？
Okay, then never mind. I guess I was right.
どういうことだ？
あと、これはさっき入ってきた情報なんだけど、警察がリュウグウレナの行方を探してるって。
なんだって？
なんでも、レナの家の前にはすでに覆面パトカーが1台張り付いてるらしい。村の中にもすでにサイレンなしのパトカーが数台入り込んでるみたい。
Well, Rena, it looks like you just gotten a race to find you started between two different factions in here. Not gonna lie, I'm really interested to see where this is all gonna go.
あと、君吉本家にも警察から電話があって、リュウグウレナの所在を至急確認したいので、懲戒連絡網で確認をしてほしいと連絡があったって。
ってことは、まさか俺たちの隠した死体が見つかったってことか？
We hid them deep in the mountains. They couldn't have found them that easily.
それは 100% ありえない。
Unless you were a witness.
私が保証するよ。
おう、よく 100% なんて言い切れるな。
実はね、あの死体、園崎家の方で秘密の場所に処分させてもらったの。
Are you fucking serious? It was you guys?
秘密の場所？
まあ、そこは深く考えない。あのね、私たちが埋めたあの山林、後でよくよく聞いてみたら、今年の夏に大規模な伐採計画があるって分かったの。
Wait. I wonder if the Sonozaki family actually took care of the corpses in this chapter, then did they also take care of Keiichi's victim in chapter 3? That would also kind of tie into the idea I've recently come to, that maybe maybe Mion and the rest of the club members were actually trying to come up with an alibi for Keiichi at that point. Maybe the corpse disappearing is part of that? But no. They had no idea where Keiichi killed this guy. How could they possibly have known? Unless it was someone different who took the corpse. I mean, there is still Takano. She knew where the corpse was for sure. I don't know what to think of this.
だから、ちょっと私の方で手を回させてもらったってわけ。
そっか、なるお前。味方なら頼りになるけど、敵だったら怖いやつだな。
おじさんを誰だと思ってるんだか。
じゃあ死体じゃないよな。一体どうして警察がレナを？
わからない。北条哲平と間宮里奈が竜宮家を食い物にしようとしてたって話は裏の界隈ではちょっと知られてたらしいんだよ。そっちの角度からレナが浮上したのかもしれない。とにかく容疑者ってわけじゃないみたい。でも重要参考人とかって扱いではあるだろうね。
どっちだって同じだぜ。くそ、せっかくレナは平穏な生活を取り戻したんだぞ。ここで台無しになんかしてたまるか。ミオ、俺たちでなんとかレナをかばおう。
Well, I hate to break it to you, but Nurse Killjoy kind of ruined it for her already.
当然だよ。とにかく警察よりも先にレナの身柄を確保するようさっき沖宮の家に伝えた。本家でならレナを 120% 警察から守れる。
レナをかくまうだけじゃ解決にはならないんじゃないのか。レナの嫌疑を何とかしないと。
そこは保護してから考えるよ。アリバイを証明する証人なんかいくらでも作れるし、本家に出入りしてる最高の弁護士もいる。私たちは仲間を絶対に見捨てない。
ああ、そうさ。絶対にレナを守ってやろうな。くそ、俺ができるのはミオンに頼るだけかよ。情けないぜ。
まあまあ、じゃの道は蛇ってことだよ。おじさんの方で手を尽くすから、ここは任せな。あと、村全体で警察の目をごまかすためアリバイを作る。レナがゴグラのあたりで目撃されたことにしよう。警察の目が広域に散ればそれだけ薄くなるはずだよ。
なるほどな。そいつはうまいぜ。
Oh dear.
こんなのはダム戦争の頃はお手の物だったよ。絶対にレナをかばいきってみせる。
All your guys' attempts to help Rena is only gonna make this situation worse.
あと、ケイちゃん。レナはケイちゃんのことは特に信頼してた。だから、レナの方からケイちゃんのところに現れる可能性がある。その時には、すぐ保護してあげてほしい。その時は、私にもすぐ連絡してね。
お、わかったぜ。
レナは強い子だからね。きっとこんな苦難も乗り越えてみせるよ。
そうだな。
I hesitate to say something. Rena hadn't been her normal self lately. If she was her normal self, I'd have no doubt that she could overcome this. But Rena is deeply convinced that Takano-san's delusions are true. Rena believes the Sonozaki family is behind the conspiracy. I'm not sure if she trusts the Sonozaki family to protect her.
大丈夫だよ。私とレナだって仲間同士なんだからさ。腹を割って話せばすぐに誤解だって分かってくれるよ。ケイちゃんだって私と話して誤解が解けたんでしょよくもまあ、あんなとんでも話を信じたもんだよ。
まあな。我ながらよくあんな話を鵜呑みにしたもんだぜ。前原圭一、多分一生の恥だぜ。やれやれ。
I really was deeply convinced until I talked to Mion. Even after the promise of friendship we made, I doubted her. Takano-san was endowed with magic. Magic lies! And half-truths. And I think the scrapbooks she wrote also carried a spell. The scrapbooks can make people go mad. I literally think that's the point behind them. They're forbidden scrapbooks. Nobody was supposed to read them. Rena is captivated by the power of that magic, even after Takano-san's death. I have to wake her up. I've got a very bad feeling about it.
ああ、ごめん。来客だわ。なんだか警察っぽいな。じゃあこれで電話を切るね。
お、わかった。
レナは今晩以降、ゴグラのあたりに潜伏してることになってる。警察に何か聞かれても、知りません、会ってませんで通すんだよ。
お、了解。
Mion waited for my answer, then hung up the phone. After she hung up, I slowly started to feel like Rena was being consumed by some huge, unthinkable fate. It's not only the police I'm worried about. I'm also worried because Rena is ensnared by the power of Takano-san's magic. I fear that she might be suffering from incredible anxiety. You don't know the half of it. Oh, right. Rena might be hiding at her secret base in the garbage dump. Rena once told me that she used to spend time there when Rena-san was at her house. And she told me that she hid the scrapbooks there, too. If she's hiding there, she must be hungry by now. I should bring her something to eat. I went to the kitchen to look for some junk food. My mother looked confused.
母さんごめん。ちょっと出かけてくるよ。
こんな時間に？もう遅いからよしなさい。
大切な用事なんだ。すぐ戻るよ。あとそれから、もし俺が留守の間にレナが来るようなことがあったら、それからレナの所在を尋ねる電話が来たら、知らないって言って切っちゃって。
My My mom looked angry that I was leaving the house at so late an hour, but I rushed out of the house before she could say anything. I grabbed a flashlight from the wall of the garage, got on my bicycle, and sped off into the darkness. The moon looked beautiful, but in a creepy way. I feel like something terrible is going to happen. I don't know what it is, but I know it's coming. An echo from Chapter 3, perhaps? Something is going to happen. The moon, seemingly knowing just what that something will be, looked like it was laughing at us, pacing back and forth in confusion. Damn it. Laugh all you want. Laugh at this funny story as much as you want. I'm not going to laugh. I'm going to fight. I'm going to smash through whatever fate is waiting for us. Rena, I hope you're there. Maybe my bicycle needs some oil. It was making a lousy noise as I pedaled. Damn it. Even my bicycle is laughing at us! I feel like a laughing bicycle is something only a clown would use. New tips unlocked. Them. So, tell me all about them. Oh, that text is turning into a nice shade of red now. Look at that. Almost straight up blood red at this point. I wonder what's going to happen once that text turns completely blood red. Will we get some actual bloodshed to accompany it? Probably. Probably. And it's not going to be pretty. I may sound like I'm kind of laughing at this a little bit, but I'm really not. I finished talking to Fuushi on the phone, and soon left the phone booth. I realized something, and a chill ran through my body. I was in a phone booth that stood out tremendously in the dark. Somebody must have seen me. I was certain I was being watched. That's just the shadowy figment of this parasite's imagination worming its way into your imagination. I saw glowing eyes staring at me in the dark. It wasn't human. Was it an illusion? No. I knew who they were. They were the ones controlling the 3 families who ruled Hinamizawa. Its eye level was too low for it to be human, and its outline was vague. I knew from the past records that they were physically frail. The silhouette, which indicated its inhuman appearance, was unbelievably unrealistic, especially its protruding head. One of the scrapbooks I received from Neosekken described their appearance in detail. You talking about the parasite? Their eyeballs were pure red, like blood, and their bodies smell like ammonia. Even though some of them have at times been captured around the world. No, it can't be the parasite. All of them melted or disappeared, leaving no trace behind. The only traces remaining are the marks proving their descent to Earth. Right then, the impossible, unrealistic silhouette took a step closer, and got closer and closer towards me, making realistic noise as it crunched across the gravel. Little green men? The noise pulled me back to reality. It kept walking towards me. It sounded like it was kicking pebbles everywhere as it walked. It was coming closer and closer. I was scared, so I said the same thing once again. And this time the glass door of the phone booth I was just in started to rattle and shake. Bang! It made weird sounds as if being struck by something. I screamed loudly in fear and started running. I ran so hard that it felt like my lungs were about to explode. And then I looked back to find that the thing was no longer chasing after me. Was it my imagination? Whose car is that? There was no way it was just my imagination. I definitely heard the sound of the gravel being kicked and the phone booth rattling. But I needed to calm down. Right then, I needed to make my heart stop beating so fast. I'd have to fight them eventually. The next time they appeared, I was going to strike back at them. I was going to squash their heads with my big hatchet. I had to protect Hinamizawa. It was my duty to do so. I wouldn't allow them to do whatever they wanted. I saw the lights flickering in my head again. Things are going from zero to 100 real freaking quick, but, well, once again, at the risk of sounding like a broken record, that just seems to be how things go in this little rural village, doesn't it? Now that we've basically got the Okinomiya police force, the entire Sonozaki family, the club, and pretty much the whole club searching for Rena at this point, while Rena herself is just playing hide and seek with everybody while steadily losing her mind. I really can't help but wonder, what are we going to be in store for in the next episode? How much longer do we have to go until things finally reach a breaking point and blood is spilt? Maybe we'll find out next time. That being said, I guess I'll go ahead and cut things off here. I hope you guys enjoyed this latest episode of Higurashi When They Cry Kai Chapter 6. If you did and you want to see more content from me, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I will see you all next time. Take care.